And it's time for Lefties Losing It, and the broken, soulless ghouls of the left have really disgraced themselves in recent days after the murder of a great American, Charlie Kirk. No matter how low our opinion, our expectations of these miserable miscreants of the left, they still manage to surprise us with the depth of their depravity.
The sympathy for Charlie Kirk is fucking weird.
You want to know why I'm so stoked? Go ahead and Google Charlie Kirk.
They got him in the net! Rest in peace, bozo!
I do not feel bad for him in the slightest.
Put down like a dog in Utah, and I could not be happier.
Charlie would have wanted it this way.
He's been one of the most divisive younger figures who is constantly pushing hate speech.
They clapped him.
I think it's worth to have a cost.
C'est qui va plus donner de conférence? Qui? Charlie Kirk.
The rhetoric of Charlie Kirk, the way that he condoned violence exactly like this, and how it came back to hurt him. Everything that we're seeing with the Trump regime, it stems from Charlie Kirk.
We don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration.
Now, here are two witches. The first is planning to celebrate the next assassination. These people are demonic.
If you were gonna get the job done, there were two better candidates. And furthermore, when that happens, and it will, it will, not only will we be insensitive, that'll be the least of your worries. But it's gonna be the biggest celebration, the biggest, most beautiful celebration.
Hideous, just hideous antics. And here is one hard left troll, a vicious and callous lefty straight from Central Casting. Sadly for us, this one's Australian.
Pretending that you don't enjoy a terrible person's death is not dignified, it's cowardly. And this is exactly how we got here, because this is what Trump is an absolute master at. He is a master at saying the worst, most uncomfortable things, and people on the left just sitting there going, oh, I'm too scared to say what I really think. You just go along with it. You say nothing because it's not uncomfortable enough for you. The only people I have any empathy for in the Charlie Kirk situation are his victims. That is it.
Now, instead of reflecting on the utter evil of what she said there, what she had chosen to share on the World Wide Web, well, instead of reflecting on that, she decided to double down on the ugliness, on the bile, on the depraved lunacy.
All of the drama, I want to reiterate that it is not wrong or unethical or unkind to laugh at the misfortunes of terrible people. That Charlie Kirk incited violence. That's what he did. And then that came back to haunt him. That was his decision. So it's got nothing to do with the people who are laughing and joking about him becoming a human water fountain.
Just foul, vicious, deranged hate. What else can you say about that? Let's have a brief antidote to that ugliness. Let's hear from Jeffree Star, the original, the OG influencer. He had a message for those celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder.
Because I'm standing up for someone that passed away, I'm now being called names in the chat. This is what's wrong with a lot of you people. You will never get far in life. You are sick in the head. Someone just said they're unsubscribing from me. Thank God, please. Because if you believe in they and thems, you're part of the problem. If you're so stupid enough to go against science, please unfollow me. You can be whoever you want to be, but there's science and there's facts. You can pretend in your head you're a cat. You can pretend in your head that you're this and you're that. Good for you. You're still only A or B. And the truth hurts a lot of you, I see.
And huge props to Jeffree Star for that. He posted plenty more on the issue. His following is enormous. He has over 13 million followers on Instagram alone and many more on TikTok. And Many of them are of the left. He pays a big price every time he speaks up, and that takes courage. And it's all about courage and conviction. If you want to know why Charlie's work was so important in giving confidence to students to speak freely, to conservatives to boldly state their position in the face of enormous intimidation on university campuses, let's have a look at this clip. This intimidation is not just from radicalised students, it's also from academia. Listen to what happened to this young man.
What happened? I was walking to Valhalla to get my food exchanged, and PhD student Patrick Mahoney, as well as his accomplice Gerald Hobb, did not like the hat I was wearing. And when my head was down, I made zero eye contact with him. He saw my hat, he ripped the hat off my head, crumbled it. I had to go confront him and say, "What are you doing, dude?" What happened next? He charged at me. Patrick grabbed my chest, slammed it on the road pavement. Then he grabbed my head and also slammed it on the road pavement as hell.
And this was a professor, right?
Yeah.
If a conservative professor would have hunted down a Kamala Harris wearing student, it would have been a hate crime and the #1 news story in the country. Now we could barely get attention for a young man who was punched by a professor here at Washington State University. They're the ones dividing the country. We're the ones trying to heal.
They're the ones dividing the country. Charlie was trying to bring it together through respectful debate. But how do you debate people like this?
I have breaking news. We think that Charlie Kirk just got shot in the neck. Hey, ooh, ah, ooh.
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
There are some people on this app that are sitting there saying, oh, you shouldn't wish death upon any person, no matter what side they're on. That. Charlie Kirk was a Nazi. He was a Nazi. And you know what kind of Nazi is the best Nazi? A dead one.
Gather around, let's all join hands and bow our heads in thoughts and prayers for Charlie Kirk. Thoughts and prayers for Charlie Kirk. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers.
I'm not sad. It's about time karma took out that trash.
Charlie Kirk was a big advocate for the Second Amendment. It worked out well for him.
The best part of this whole goddamn thing is that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will activate no one.
It will mean nothing. Charlie's death will mean nothing. It will impact no one. Really?
It will activate no one.
And let's stick with the far left, the Australian far left's dangerously deranged reaction to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a brave conservative Christian father of two, famous for his political debates. Let's begin with radical feminist Clementine Ford, who shortly after Charlie's death posted a series of vile rants, some from her car, apparently condemning progressives who oppose political violence and even explicitly calling for it.
There's still this impulse that so many white people have, nice white progressive middle-class white people, have to respond to things like this with these kind of very somber-faced, violence is never the answer. Like, what the f*** are you talking about?
What? But just remember, he died doing what he loved, defending guns. He took a bullet for the cause, and according to Charlie Kirk, a few deaths a year from guns is a small price to pay to defend the Second Amendment. So what more could he possibly ask for? It's a tribute and legacy to the pointlessness of his life. You should be glad that this is how he went out.
And if that wasn't bad enough, the New Daily published a piece by the Australian Institute's Amy Ramikas, who wrote, sadly, Charlie Kirk was killed in the America he wanted, but will I mourn him? No. I mourn for the people suffering in the world he helped create and held gloating dominion over. Kirk represented everything we should be pushing back against. Tolerating the intolerable makes us all crueler and validates those who have no compassion for anyone they don't understand. I refuse to see the greatness in that. I mourn the loss of life, but not what Charlie Kirk did with his. That woman is in desperate need of a mirror. The New Daily has since removed that piece. The question needs to be asked, why was it ever published? And let's have a look at this post from Cheek Media CEO, far-left influencer Hannah Ferguson. In it, she writes, am I glad Charlie Kirk will no longer spread his extremist messaging? She answered that with yes. And she also asked, is violence sometimes necessary? And again, she said yes. Now, that post was liked by none other than Till MP Zali Steggall. But she has since unliked it and condemned Kirk's assassination in response to a wave of criticism in the media, although she still maintains that liking does not equal endorsement. So if you like a post on Instagram, it doesn't mean you actually like it. Try to figure that out. And finally, we had this from Abby Chatfield. Of course we did. She wrote, he was a dangerous far-right extremist who said that he doesn't believe in empathy. He has said that the Civil Rights Act was a huge mistake. He has said that gay people should be stoned to death. He has said that public executions should occur and be televised. He has even said that if his daughter were 10 years old and were pregnant through rape, he would force her to carry the child to term. The man was evil. Now, what's evil is your deranged response, the ugly hyperbole and lies that I just read out. Joining me now is IPA Deputy Executive Director Daniel Wild. Dan, how have you seen the past 4 days? Some of the commentary has been beyond unhinged.
Yeah, well, I completely agree with you, Rita. I think the mask has really slipped on the modern left and what it is that they truly believe. When we've heard them say that words are violence, that was sort of the permission structure that they created to, sort of have this false equivalence between someone having, hurt feelings, therefore justifying violent actions against somebody else. And so, these ideas have consequences. What it also shows to me is that the left have no interest in debate. We saw that here with the Voice to Parliament referendum, where if you opposed that, you were just called a racist rather than actually having a debate about it. Same with the gay marriage plebiscite. You were called homophobic and said it was insensitive to debate and have a vote on that particular issue. So, look, the left really have no interest in engaging in debate. They seek to dehumanise their political opponents, which then legitimises a whole range of actions, including the assassination of a prominent public figure.
Now, there is a growing list of people getting fired for dancing on Charlie Kirk's grave, from MSNBC commentators to nurses and teachers and even shop assistants. Let's have a look at a few examples here. We've had a nurse in Atlanta Children's Hospital. She was fired for posting F his kids, F his ancestors, especially the B who birthed him. Charming. The assistant dean of students at Middle Tennessee State University was fired after she wrote, looks like old Charlie spoke his fate into existence. Hate begets hate, zero sympathy. DC Comics has also fired author Gretchen Felker Martin and terminated the latest comic series she wrote called Red Hood after she posted, thoughts and prayers, you Nazi B. Hope the bullet's okay after touching Charlie Kirk. Dan, my opinion is that sunlight is the best disinfectant. I'm glad these characters feel emboldened enough to share their bile online, and I'm not the least bit sorry that there are some consequences.
I agree. I mean, there should be consequences. These people should lose their job. But the problem is that a lot of these people that you mentioned just then and earlier are not necessarily sort of fringe players. I mean, Abby Chatfield had Anthony Albanese on her podcast. So it's sort of the leadership of the left, the political leadership of the left, have sort of legitimised the opinions of a lot of these individuals. So there's sort of that issue. I think the other point here is that we've had a real generation that's been brainwashed through our education system and through the rabbit holes that they go down in the media and the sort of echo chambers that they occupy, now that they really do believe these things because they've never been challenged. And all you have to do is look at Charlie Kirk's videos when he's at a university, and really all it takes is 2 or 3 minutes of questioning of one of these sort of radical activists, and their arguments and their beliefs just don't hold up. They don't stand up to any kind of scrutiny. So that's why they actively avoid debate, because their opinions and their conclusions, whether it's on climate change or whether it's on identity politics and transgenderism, I mean, they are absurd.
Dan, you're right about these characters normalising this sort of extremist rhetoric and the lies they operate on. I read out one of the lies right there that's circulating from Abby Chatfield, saying that Charlie Kirk thought that gays should be stoned to death. I mean, just takes 15 seconds to check that out and realise it's not accurate. Don't put it online. Charlie Kirk's heartbroken wife, Erica, has delivered a powerful message. She had this to say to the killer and those who incited this murder, this assassination. They don't know what they've unleashed.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
Joining me now is the host of Power Hour, Gabriella Power. Gab, we finally know more about Charlie Kirk's alleged killer, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, who was turned in by his own father. It's been revealed that before his arrest, he went onto a private Discord chat and joked that his doppelganger pulled the trigger. In messages obtained by the New York Post, he mocked the manhunt for the gunman and taunted the FBI's investigation. And he also joked about obtaining reward money. It's pretty clear, Gab, from these screenshots that there's not much remorse here.
Yeah, it's really chilling to read the comments that Tyler Robinson made in the hours leading up to his arrest. He mocked the FBI investigation. He made comments saying that the shooter must be in California. Another person in that group chat joked about getting a cut of the $100,000 FBI reward. There was also another comment made by Tyler Robinson there saying that, he had to get rid of the manifesto, appearing to joke about he himself potentially being the shooter. Now, we do know that Tyler Robinson will be facing his first court appearance on Tuesday, and Utah Governor Spencer Cox says that he is not cooperating with law enforcement at the moment, but family and friends are helping with the investigation.
Yes, and his lover appears to be helping investigators as well. And we're getting more details about his private life. According to police, Robinson was living with a transgender lover who was in the process of transitioning from a man to a woman. Utah Governor Spencer Cox also told the Wall Street Journal that investigators are of the view that the alleged killer is deeply indoctrinated with leftist ideology. Gab, we have heard a lot of misinformation. We have heard a lot of lies from people who should know better, including many in the media, about the alleged killer being supposedly MAGA or from some right-wing movement.
Yeah, so much misinformation, disinformation online. It's horrible to see. But I think this truth, I should say, from Utah Governor Spencer Cox, that this alleged killer believes to appear to be deeply indoctrinated with leftist ideology, that should come as a surprise to no one. We have seen parts of the far left justify and celebrate murder, and it is absolutely sick. Now, it appears as though Tyler Robinson was radicalised after university. We know that ammunition was engraved with a reference to fascism. And again, hearing that piece of news, you just think of every Democrat and every mainstream media outlet that has labelled Donald Trump a fascist. And you know, we are seeing so many parts of the far left celebrate murder. It makes me absolutely sick. But as your reference to his personal life, we know that he appears to now be dating or be in a romantic relationship with someone who was transitioning genders, appears to be a big supporter of Joe Biden. And also Robinson himself had a fixation on furries, Rita.
Yes, and again, that's some interesting reading there, but we won't get into that. I want to speak a little bit more about Charlie. He was all about dialogue, about the importance of maintaining civil debate with your ideological opponents. He would talk to anybody. It was always about the issue, not attacking the person. And he was happy to be the butt of jokes himself. Look at his reaction to a South Park episode that featured someone very much like himself.
So let me ask you this. What is your definition of a woman?
Yeah. Putting down the mic in between the question, that is pure art, South Park.
What is my what? What is a woman? It's a very simple question. Well, a woman is a lady friend who, gives you kisses. You see, you can't answer the question, but something is male or it is female. Both sides in Scripture agree to that, and that's just the truth. Next.
Another hoax to do totally destroyed.
Oh, jeez.
I think the whole thing is just awesome and hilarious.
Unlike the angry left, he wasn't afraid to laugh at himself, even if the characterisation was pretty harsh.
Did you call the girls' soccer team a Marxist indoctrination factory?
That is correct.
We actually beat the boys 4-0, you know.
You can whine about American oppression all you want, but you're using an iPhone made by the free market to complain about a system that gave it to you. Girls have it way easy in America, and that's just the truth.
Girl reading off the phone, by the way, with like the angry, lib face, like, blah, 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 blah. I'm reading, so it's just perfect.
He was special, Gab. I can't think of anyone else like him who was just such a happy warrior who would just maintain his calm in the face of all sorts of ugliness.
All the time, and we saw that. I love the clip you just played, Rita. I mean, it just really speaks to his character and his brilliant personality. He was happy to laugh at himself, and he was such a great example to young people, especially to young men. I mean, he was so clear on his values. He really spoke up for being principled, for fighting for what you believe in with words, not with violence. And that clip of him just laughing there at himself on South Park, I mean, it says so much about him. He was such a brilliant man, and he's going to be so missed.
Absolutely. It's a good way to remember him. Gabriella Powell, thank you so much for your time. Joining me now is American Culture Project Senior Fellow and best-selling author Corey DeAngelis is in Australia for CPAC in Brisbane this weekend. Now, Corey, like Charlie, your focus is schools and academia. Charlie believed the greatest threat to Western civilization is what's going on our college campuses today, and it starts well before that, doesn't it? The indoctrination has become part of the curriculum.
Yeah, it's a total problem. You think that these issues just start at the higher education levels, but it actually is much deeper than that. The government school system is ripping apart society at its very fabric, at its very core, at the K through 12 level. You have far left radicals that have infiltrated this government school system that have figured out that they can move the direction of our country without even having their own kids by controlling these elite institutions that spend so much money, and they're turning these students against their own country. So I mean, it's a huge problem. And Charlie Kirk was right that these institutions that are supposed to be about learning are a threat to civilization because of the divisiveness. You look at the critical race theory studies. Diversity, equity, inclusion efforts.
In not just academia, it spreads from those college campuses. Those graduates take it into the corporate world. So it's in your HR departments, it's in public institutions and private institutions. And we're seeing the hostile manner that anyone who deviates from leftist thought is treated on university campuses. Let's have a look at some students at Boston University have called on campus leaders to protect them from violence and intimidation, saying that they fear for their safety amid on-campus celebrations of Charlie Kirk's murder. I mean, this is just sickening, Corey, but this is the reality on university campuses, and I don't think it's just restricted to the US. It would be evident in the UK and right here in Australia.
Yeah, in the US, we've seen a lot of anti-Semitism on campus. We've seen these ideas pushed by the teachers' unions as well at the K-12 level. And President Trump has been going to war with these universities and filing lawsuits against them, trying to stop them from getting federal funding. And he's been dealt a lot of victories lately with Harvard University, Seating Ground, Columbia University, and others getting these hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements paying out to the Trump administration for not being safe for Jewish students, but it's even worse than that. These institutions aren't safe for conservative students. It's a one-sided political echo chamber. You look at Harvard University, for example, 95% of their campaign contributions from people affiliated with Harvard University, according to Open Secrets, went to Democrats. It's a money laundering operation, essentially.
Frankly,
it's
I'm shocked there was even 5%. I'm presuming that 5% went to independent candidates.
Yeah, maybe Bernie Sanders.
Possibly. Now, let's turn our attention. You mentioned the teachers' unions. Randy Wintergarten, the president of the American Federation of Teachers Union, this week, she's speaking at a Teachers Against Fascists conference. And let me guess here, Corey, the fascists in the eyes of her and the teachers' unions are people like Charlie Kirk, people like the president, and more than half the country that supports them.
Yeah, basically anyone who is to the right of Karl Marx must be a fascist, according to Randy Weingarten. And she put out this book, and she's still releasing it on Tuesday, called Why Fascists Fear Teachers. She copied my book cover, by the way, and in my book cover, I called it The Parent Revolution. The word parent was in red. In her book, the word fascist is in red. So it seems like she's calling parents fascist. The unions think they own your kids. And Randy Weingarten, at a time where we really need to tone it down in America, she's continuing with her book tour to continue getting more sales. She cares about herself. She doesn't care about the country.
And really, when you are calling your political opponents fascists, modern-day Hitlers, when you're characterising them in those absurd terms, but terms that the left increasingly believe, then you really are licensing some deranged person with a gun to kill them, because who wouldn't kill Hitler? If you could avoid what came after Hitler, you would do everything in your power to do that. So they know precisely how dangerous it is. They know the history of violence from the left in the past decade, that they will continue to do this after the assassination attempt against President Trump and now what's happened to Charlie. It's incredible.
I mean, it's insane. And the left has been known to equate words with violence. And so you're right. When they continue to call people like Trump and anyone on the right a fascist or a dictator, Randy Weingarten was at an event in Chicago just a week or two ago where she was calling President Trump a pharaoh, saying that he was worse than all the pharaohs. And in Exodus in the Bible, the pharaoh wouldn't let God's people free. Yep. And he ordered the mass killings of newborn Israelites. So this is just insane. The rhetoric has been turned up to volume 11.
Whilst the left says, let's lower the temperature after time, it is just...
total gaslighting, total hypocrisy.
Projection and gaslighting, that's all they have. Corey DeAngelis, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Rita.